and what the women are trying to say to the men. So it was just a gifting that happened, and I started seeing how we were shifting. So see, I'm one of those people that wait, I don't even know your first name. What's your first name?
Just Lead. You can call me the lead attorney.
Okay, Lead. So Lead, what happened was I started noticing how we as women started to become
your audio sounds great. If you could stay right there.
Right there? Okay. I'm going to stay right here. I noticed that as women, women started to become the type of men that they were seeking. And what happened was wait.
Let me just pause that for a second, because that's deep. You just said it like it was nothing, but hold on. You're saying women started to become the men that they were seeking. That's deep, right?
Yes. And so what happened was I was never raised in the strong, independent Black woman, household. That was not me. My mother, actually, it was the other way around for me. My mother actually married a man that could not honor her femininity. So what I did in turn was I went extremely hard, because I'm like, man, this fool, he played her. He did not treat her right. And my mother, I thought she was passive, not realizing she was what a feminine woman is. She just married a man that was not equipped to handle what came with that type of a woman. So I used to look at my mom as really soft at first, right? Until I got to my own understanding of what was actually, going on. So with that, I started getting into the dating space. My very first YouTube video on dating and femininity was back in 2010 or 11. So when everybody said, you the female this, you the female, no, I'm the only April Mason. I've been in this for a very long time. No comparison needed. Let us all have our own platforms. But what happened was I started to notice that women were more and more successful in business, but they couldn't get a quality date to save their lives. So I started a matchmaking service back in 2012, baby. I closed it in 2013 because the expectations were so unreal.
1 year. She closed that in 1 year. Damn. 1 year, she already saw the horrors of trying to counsel Black feminazis. She already saw the madness. Let's keep going.
And what was happening was women were thinking, they were looking at themselves and they weren't doing a panoramic view of themselves. It's equivalent to when I was married, and I got married in my 20s and divorced in my 30s. And I didn't realize that I was in a bad marriage until one day, or that I was depressed until one day, Lee, I actually walked in Walmart and I walked across the mirror, past the mirror, and I'm only 5'3", 5'4".
That's how we love them over here. We love the short women over here. We don't like them 5'10".
I'm a shorty. I'm a shorty over here. Normally my license say 5'4", but I walked past the mirror and I noticed I had got up to a size 16. Now, all my life I've been a size 6'8", even now. But it goes to say that's what I start seeing with women. They weren't realizing what was going on with them. See, I wasn't in tune enough with me to realize, April, you're not wearing jeans anymore. You're wearing jeggings. You're not looking at, you're wearing a medium, small, you used to wear a small, medium shirt, but now you're wearing an extra large and a 2X. So what we do is we still hold that image of ourselves as we want to see it, but we don't realize we're not as dope as we think we are.
Right.
And so I had to take a moment and say, wait a minute. And I can say this about myself. April, you become what I call a lard ass, is what I have become. And I said, okay, what do I need to do to shift this? I needed to get a divorce because I should have never been married in the first place. And I needed to learn how to love myself more so that when it was time for me to remarry again, I could choose a better partner. So that's how I really got really heavy into this work, because I actually went through it. Yes. And so, except from the strong part, I didn't come from a bunch of strong, independent women like that. I came from more of the feminine woman household. Although, I had maybe one or two aunts that was a little but overall, my overall upbringing was with more of the feminine energy woman that I looked at as something being weak, not realizing they just chose the wrong men to choose to cover them. The men that they chose could not cover them. And so for me, when I quit, me quitting was 2 years in the making. And I'll tell you this. Over the last 2 years, although, people say, why would she close if she was, making money? No, it's very lucrative. Put it like this. I'm going to keep it at 1,000 with you. If you ever want to make a lot of money, join the dating industry and give women fluff. You see?
That's exactly how Derek Jackson, Pastor Poppy Don, all these other dating gurus is not telling women the truth. That's how you make money. And the black women especially, will eat it up. Okay, because they don't want to be told the truth like us men. We have to work out. We have to get better jobs. We have to change our mindsets. We have to do all this work. And then for women, they don't want to hear that they have to do work. They want to hear that gimme, gimme, gimme. I don't care if I'm 300 pounds. You're still worthy of a man 6 foot, 6 figures, and, has the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not real life. 2 people in a relationship, 2 people got to work at it. Okay? But if you talk this way, you'll look as misogynistic, you're fat shaming, you hate women. You're an abuser. Your mama black. You're stupid. Not to get off topic, but I had a post about how, why would women want to defend sex work when it hurts women and call it women's empowerment? Automatically, they want to blame the men for lusting after them. And that's why if the men didn't lust after it, has control over themselves, they wouldn't, women wouldn't have, women wouldn't be murdered for being sex workers. I said, the best, you want men, and on top of it, they were saying men should check them. Why would we check your clientele? If they weren't thirsty, you wouldn't be getting paid. Okay? Thousands of dollars. A 22-year-old single mom was just killed dabbling in the sex game. They don't think about that. They don't think, well, that woman should have left the sex game and found a job so she could still be with her child. No, the logic is men need to let us collect our money, no matter how much we make them thirsty, no matter how dangerous the job is. Make my stalker more respectable to me, even though I'm selling him a dream, so I could take his thousands of dollars. If a man wants to do that, you lose money. So you really don't want that. You just want protection. You want bodyguards. This is the logic. Okay? Instead of just saying, ma'am, give up the sex work. Find a new job. They made excuses. This is the mindset April Mason had to deal with. Ma'am, you want this such and such type of dude, but you have to work out. You have to lose weight. You have to give up the toxic attitude. Now they come for, even with the fact when she said, you know what, you have to it's best you fix your man a plate on Thanksgiving. They lost their minds. Absolutely lost their minds over that. Come on.
Derek Jackson. We all know Derek Jackson making bank.
I mean, it's not, because you got to remember, these women, a lot of these women, not all, of course, when I say these women, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking from an experience of over 10 years of this. Wow. So I've dealt with them from all different ranges, So it's safe to say, for me to say, that when women came to me, they didn't come to me to become better. They came to me for a better, for access to a better penis. That's what they came to me for.
So basically, these women wanted to turn into predators. Okay, you know how the predator, he puts on this face shield, and automatically his body becomes invisible, and you can't see him, but you know he's there, but you can't see him. It's the same thing with these women. They come to April Mason to get the knowledge of how to be a submissive woman, to be a feminine woman, and they put that mask on, and then they come near these men. But these men, and sad to say, these men, they sense there's something wrong here, but they can't put their finger on it. Okay? And that's how it is with the predator's victims. They sense something there. They're with their gun. They're with their defenses. But they can't see the predator. They can't see it. They know it's something there, but they can't see it. Okay, all they see is the bending of light, and that's the same thing. It's the bending of light. Okay, they have the truth, but they don't practice it, and they just show a facade. It's going to be a little biblical, I'll say. It's just the fact that there's a part in the Bible that says Satan comes as a minister, as a form of a minister of light, and that's what these women are doing. They'll pretend to cook for you. They'll cook for you for possibly for a good minute, and then when they get that ring, they get that house, they get you saying that you love and commit to them. Now the mask fully drop. They don't have to cook. They go back to gaining weight. Go ahead, divorce me. I'll take half your stuff. And in this instance, I can understand why men are afraid of marriage. Marriage is a beautiful thing, but I also understand why men are hesitant to be married, because these women go to her, especially the men who want black women. These black women, okay, go to a genuine person like April Mason to learn this, to try and trap black men. And if that black man dare leave, assert himself, they'll just say, you know what? I'll take half your stuff in the divorce, and I'll make sure you won't see your kid. Sad to say, and April Mason is getting a lot of heat, but I commend her because she's telling the truth, what's going on. These clowns, with fake hair, fake eyelashes. I'm just repeating what she said from what I remember on the Instagram post, word for word. Nasty attitudes, nasty to April Mason's customer service employees, and they expect to get a man. All they will do is get, an extra baby out of the deal and be a single mother, second, third, or fourth time in a row.
So one of my best friend told me, he said, April, you're going to have to disconnect or divorce yourself from their results. But I'm like, nah, man, because this worked. It worked for me. It worked, because I'm all excited. I'm like, yes. Girl, if you get yourself right, you do this, become the feminine woman for you first. The man is the byproduct. The man is not the reason why you're here. He is the byproduct. If you do these things, you're not in a hurry to get married. Yeah. And so people would always ask me, how do you do what you do when you're not married? I said, because I am a walking example of what I teach. See, people think that the man is the validator. Although I love you guys, I love a man, just the way y'all walk and how y'all smell and just all of that, right? Mm-hmm. But you're the byproduct. See, women would think or question me, she don't have a husband, because I wasn't supposed to have a husband while I was going through developing who April was. If I would have remarried during that time, I would have been divorced again.
Let me go back though. Let me jump up, because that sounds deep. I've never heard anybody say that. When you say men are the byproduct, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, sure. What I mean by men is the byproduct doesn't mean that we don't need you. What it means is when you become a dope woman for yourself first, the type of man that you want will easily come along. Mm. So the man is the byproduct of you becoming a dope woman. You don't become a dope woman for the man. And so that's why a lot of men say, well, when I got with her, after I got her like this, she changed. Yes, because she only was that to get you. She didn't.
Exactly. The predator mindset. She got all that information, got that good camouflage shield, and gotcha.
Not become that. So in my dating academy, I used Teach Me How to Date as the bait. That was the sugar to get them in there. Women that actually did the work in my dating academy will tell you, my whole life changed. My money changed. How I got that promotion on my job. So I just had to use the man as the bait to get them to know themselves better, because women aren't doing that for real. Yes, women are going to more conferences. Yes, women are picking up more, books to read, but they're not doing the hard work to transform. it's difficult to go through the emotional pain that come with change. I had to realize I wasn't as dope as I thought I was. I'm like, oh, I'm fine, but that was on the outside. Your end result will always tell you how dope or how dope you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So
because when you said men are the byproduct, because the more dope a woman becomes, maybe the better the man that she can pull can be. Like, I resonate with that. I think I like that. But then when you kept going, you were talking about, women making money more on their job, women getting these promotions, and that's where a lot of men would be like, well,
okay, let me explain that.
Okay,
I'll explain it to you. So this is what I mean. I teach living a feminine lifestyle. Living a feminine lifestyle means even when you go to work, your energy is you're dominant in the feminine, not necessarily the masculine all day. So although we have several family businesses and I'm the CEO of a couple of them, and then I have a 27-year-old daughter and my 25 and 23-year-old sons, they run the business with me as well. However, I intentionally only give 10 to 15% of my masculine energy to my business every day. Mm-hmm. That means I'm allowing myself a cap so that I can make sure that I am not throwing myself as in the masculine energy as my dominant. There's nothing wrong with a woman being successful at all. It's how she operates in the energy of her success.
Right. Do you think there's a risk in becoming successful? For example, let's just take a quick look at what you were saying that you're starting to see a lot more. You were saying, well, however, the majority of women that come to you have unrealistic expectations. Then you were saying the selfishness, fake everything. They think they should be chosen because they have a vagina and for the good looks. The entitlement, just mean not knowing the difference between being a woman and a wise woman, not knowing how to be versus do, thinking that being a feminine woman is weak or a pick-me, placing blame and not taking responsibility or accountability for the choices that they've made in men. And do you think that this is also a byproduct of women becoming more dope? Now they're saying, hey, well, I can now have expectations that are higher, maybe to the extent that they're unrealistic. Maybe I don't want to take blame for anything because I'm so dope. Do you see this as a risk of being more dope?
It's only a risk when women use those things as their validator. Mm. See, I teach the complete opposite. See, my success, like, everybody was like, oh my God, I saw you at the Rick Ross Boss Up conference. You were like right in the front. How did, you paid $25,000 to get it into the room, right? Yeah, I did. I was one of like 5 women out of maybe 40, 50 men. My resources got me in the room. The feminine woman kept me in the room. Mm. 2 different things. Right. So a woman can be successful, and I advocate for women to be successful because a lot of our mothers, although they were more on the submissive side, we don't talk about the abuse that they were dealing with at the hands of the men back then, right? Because they didn't have any resources to say, you know what, I'm going to leave this abuse. I'm going to leave, whether it's emotional, mental, abuse. I'm not really being loved. I'm just being provided for, but at what cost? So there is that balance. It's not this or that. It's this and that. So a lot of times people want us to go back to our, the women back in the 40s and 50s. I don't want us to go back there in all ways because.
So basically it's like, I guess it's in a way your talent can get you places but your character is what keeps you. Okay. A lot of these women, they've gotten degrees and stuff like that, and they're able to get a man, but their character is so poor that they're not able to keep a man nor keep a marriage. And I agree with April Madison on this part, because you have men that just want to go back to the 1940s and 50s, but they don't understand the fact that, I'll say this, sad to say there are men who want that for the sole purpose of being able to control a woman and not really work on themselves to, in a way, trap her. And the fact that I could do whatever I want and she can't leave me. You have men like that want that type of world. They want that type of environment, and they're sick and pathetic men. Usually incels. Okay. Or men are just, they don't want to do the work to get a woman. They just want to exist. Just like you have women that don't want to do the work to keep a man. They just want to exist. It's too much work. I just want him to accept me for me. If he doesn't, I'll shame him into accepting me. And this is what we have in this culture. Sad to say. But I agree with what she's saying here.
We were not treated equally as far as human beings. I don't think men and women are equal from the same. I think we are both equal human beings, but even God created us to where we are different, and our differences is what makes us drawn to one another. Now,
exactly. That is the issue. That is the best thing she's ever said. And she's going to be hated, but so what? She's saving lives, saving these women, you know, those who want to better themselves to have happy marriages and to keep their marriages. And she's keeping all the women who just want to just ruin lives and ruin their children's lives and ruin generation from generation, all because they just want financial penis. They don't want a man. They just want financial penis. That's it. Provide for me, but I'll never hold up my end of the bargain. You get mad or stand up to me, I will threaten you with divorce, or I'll just leave you and take half your stuff and make sure you barely see your kids. Okay. She's fighting those type of women. Okay. And a lot of women, black women, are mad at her who are liberal. And that just goes to show you what the manosphere has been saying. I don't agree with everything the manosphere has to say, but what they have been saying about when it comes to these behaviors is been validated and vindicated.
But I have no problem with a woman being in business or being a successful woman. It's how she does what she does. That's why I trademarked the feminine CEO. That means I'm a woman doing business, not a businesswoman. A businesswoman puts the business before the woman. So that's what I teach my women, that my tribe, that go ahead and go make your money. But understand these alpha men, these protectors, providers, these men that don't want you to go 50-50, although you're successful, you became self-sufficient for yourself, that type of man don't need you for what you're selling them. Right. So now that you understand this, what are you going to do to become more of the divine feminine energy woman? They don't want to do that part because to them it feels weak. But you're coming to the table saying, I want this high 6, 7.
They say that's weak, but us men, we will have to be providers. We have to provide for our kids. We have to lay down our lives for our wives and our children. We have to sometimes swallow our pride in arguments. Sometimes. Okay. And sometimes we think that's weak, but we do it anyway. See, this is the thing about when women talk about equality, we know they're just talking a bunch of crap, because equality means equal responsibility, not just equal rights. And they just want a sweeter part of the deal, while giving the other person, the other gender, actually, the shorter end of the stick. That's basically what it is. Give men the shorter end of the stick, and let us women come up on top.
7, 8-figure earning man. And when I ask you what you bring to the table, the first thing you name is your degree. I know how to cook. All of the other stuff that they don't care about. Men with money, men with means, don't care if you really. You can cook, that's fine, but they can hire a chef. Everything that you are saying that you can do, they can hire somebody to replace what you do. So when you move the corporate ladder or go get successful in your business, that does not mean you don't be the woman. And a lot of times, especially our men, they say they want this type of woman, but they don't create an environment for that woman to actually be.
Do you want to grow your YouTube channel? Do you want to earn more views?
Basically that's what it is.
Or watch time. And of course,
that is basically it.
Because they're so used to doing. When they say, I want a strong woman like my mom, well, what was your mother's quality of life? Did she work 4 and 5 jobs? There's no way I could be with a man that wanted me to work every day, take care of the kids, and be his sex kitten, his sexy vixen, his confidant, his peaceful place, and all of those things. Mm-hmm. So that's why I tell women, you got to decide on what kind of man that you want, and understand not all of them, but the majority of that kind will have a certain criteria that they look for in a woman. So if you're looking for a high 6, 7, 8-figure earning man, please understand he don't need you for your degree. He don't need you for your good credit.
That's because he has controlling interest. A lot of these women shout, I want a 6-figure man. That 6-figure man has options. That 6-figure man, if he's going to give up all his options for you, there's going to be some standards since you want him to be the head of household. This is a lot of times these women, again, they just talking nonsense. I want to head a household, but you don't want him to take the lead. I want him to be a man, but you don't want him to act like one. You don't want, for you single mothers, I want him to be a man, but you don't want him disciplining your kids. Oh, they aren't his kids. So you should be by yourself or get back with the father. This is what I'm saying. This nickel and diming. No. Men are not going to take that from you. A lot of you just need to just date somebody who's just as scummy as you. If this is your attitude, you're scum, and you need to date scum. Water seeks its own level. You need to just do that.
He doesn't need you for those things.
Yeah, let me ask you. So I totally agree with what you're saying. These men who are making, 6, 7, 8 figures. But it seems to me that if the average black man, let's say in the United States, is making, let's say, $45,000 a year, then the black men who are making 6, 7, and 8 figures, those are very few in number. How is it that all this mass of black women can get these very few black men at the top?
They can't. And the reason why, and this is the reason why I use those 6, 7, 8 figure men, because they don't come to me for the $40,000, $50,000 a year men. And there's some great guys, because I always tell them, they're like, I want a high value man. I said, what's your definition of a high value man? Immediately they start with the money and the success, right? I'm like, there's a difference between a high value man and a high earning man. You're listing a high earning man. A high value man can make $40,000, $50,000 a year and having character, integrity. He can have spirituality. He can be a good protector and provider. And when your feminine energy being behind connects with him, your job is to amplify and multiply. And at the same time, he will go out and dominate in the world. And now next thing you know, he making $200,000 a year. But nobody wants to start right there. But these are normally the women that, now I will say this, there is a caliber of woman that's supposed to start at the 6, 7, high 6, 7, 8 figure. She understands her position, right?
Yeah.
That's not the majority.
Right. And so one of the first things that you mentioned in your post was the unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Now, I think women can do a lot of things that can improve their.
A lot of these women, if that's what they want, they're going to have to date outside their ethnic group. And guess what? Those men are not going to put up with your crap. That's the thing. Sad to say, some of these women will resort to cheating. They'll have a good 6-figure man, but they'll resort to cheating because they'll get tired of having to meet his standards, because those standards means you have to change from the inside out. You ever seen a person that comes to church and they say, oh yeah, I've been saved, I've been born again, child, talking all loud about it, and then they go there a week, then after a while they start trying to justify certain things because they can't take it. A lot of these women are not going to change. A lot of these women are not going to humble themselves and date within their own lane. A lot of these women are just going to be very unhappy because they don't want to change. It's like they see this dress that's probably like a size 6 and they're a size 14. They know what they have to do to get that size 6 dress, to fit in that size 6 dress, but they don't want to do it. So they'll just curse, wild out, carry on instead of doing the work. And they'll hate others who are willing to do the work to lose the weight to fit into that size 6'4" dress.
value, right, to men. And you mentioned one when you first got on, and we were talking about the weight issue. Wow, for a man, just you can't even, as a man, I can't even start a conversation about a woman's weight, right? But you would think that you as a woman could be able to broach that. But it seems to me that even if you tried to get Black women to lose weight, let's say a Black woman is 250 pounds, you try to get her to lose weight, it seems like you're going to get some pushback on Facebook and IG and things of that nature. Where is that coming from?
Well, here's the thing. Like, what I do is cause them to look in the mirror. So they come to me for the higher 1 to 10% of Black men is what they come to me for. Now, I hang out with those men. A lot of those men are single, right? And I get to hear, because what people didn't know, behind the scenes for the last 10 years, I've been the relationship dating coach to a lot of your favorite male celebrities. So I'm around them all the time. I just didn't push that because that was not my focus. It kind of happened by accident. And so now they're coming even harder. So I'm able to speak from that level of man, right? The reason why I always use the 6, 7, 8 figure man and I don't really touch on the average guy is because I want women to see what they're asking for. Meaning, these guys that y'all looking for, they don't want red hair.
Talk about
it. They
it.
don't want blondes. And your chocolate is me. That's not what they want. They don't want long fingernails. They don't want a lot of different colors. Pink, neutral colors is fine. They don't want all of the extra eyelashes and all of that stuff. Now, right? So when I make them have to look in the mirror at what they're asking for versus what those men, I said, you got to understand, those men have a list too. I'm around them all the time. Like, I was in Miami a couple weeks ago, and they asked me to go to the strip club. I go to the strip club with some of the fellas because that's their environment. That's where they want to talk. So I'm sitting there, they're giving out dollars while they're telling me, but hey, Miss April, she broke my heart, right? So I'm able to hear the hurt, right? What ends up happening is when I'm sitting there having these conversations with them, these men have a criteria as far as what they're looking for. But I always tell them, but until your palate change, you can't attract that kind of woman anyway.
Right.
So fellas, it's a dual thing.
So do you think though, let's get specific though, and let's talk about the weight, because that seems to be a very
that's what I was getting to.
Oh, sorry about that.
I was getting to. So I'm out, people seeing this, right? And these women are asking me, oh, can you hook me up with this or that one? I have to be honest, you're not small enough.
Wow.
Oh, what do you mean? I'm very.
You know what's funny? A woman could criticize a man's body, just literally butcher it. Just be like those horror movie characters, Jason, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger. Just tear him apart. Just tear his ego apart. But when you just say, okay, he doesn't like you because you're overweight. Now the crying, they want to shame you. They cry. Even when women do it to other women, like the reason why he don't like you because you're overweight, that's going to be a fist fight. Automatically going to be a fist fight. Rules for me, but not for thee. That type of attitude is not going to fly.
Very blunt with it, because the men that they're asking me for to find and where do they hang out at, I have to tell them this is not what they want. I said, you got to understand, a man of that caliber, that means he's driven. That means he's a hunter. That means legacy is important to him. That also means he wants a woman that he can take around his colleagues and family. And it also means that you don't understand that a man gets major props for the type of woman that he has on his arm. Beyonce said, and upgrade you, take me just to compliment the deal, meaning her presence complements the deal, because people are looking at the business meeting. If he got her, he must got something going on. I need to sit down and talk to this man. Even if it might not even necessarily be true, but it's the perception.
Yeah.
So when I have to talk to them about that, I'm like, in your mind, you're looking at your accomplishments saying, I deserve this. But that man will take a waitress that's a smaller woman that keep herself together. Not saying everybody got to be a size 6 or 8 like me or size 2. You can even be a size 12, 14 and keep it together. Yes. It's all about how you are put together, right? Mm-hmm. But he'll take her making $10,000 a year because she knows what it means to be a woman.
Exactly. So what's the pushback then to losing the weight? Is it laziness, or is it the fact they feel like they can just do it at size 25? Is it interesting? Is delusion. Where is that delusion coming from? What's the basis of it? Is it, a lot of women will say, oh, well, my best friend weighs 250 pounds and she's got a good man. Is that the source of it? What's the source of the delusion?
The source of we're not dealing with our emotions. See, a lot of women are overweight, and even men, because we're not dealing with the source. The source is emotion. Emotional eating, not healing yourself. Food has become your healer, right? When you're sad because it's the holiday time and you're alone again, right? What you do, you pick up the food and you eat. So we have to deal with the core issues. It's not, nobody wants to walk around just being overweight and knowing that it's causing them not to get the results that they want.
This is the thing, man. I mean, a man overeats, a man is on drugs for the holidays, he's alone, he doesn't see his kid, whatever his situation is. You know what they say? Bro, let's go outside, let's go work out. Let's don't eat that. No more Burger King. Let's go to the salad bar, let's go to Subways, let's go to the gym first, and let's kill this weight workout. Boom. Women don't want to hear the same thing. Okay? They want to be validated. And this is real help right here. You know how many women they have on these shows, like over 600-pound life, and they expect a man to be with them, let alone touch them. But they don't want to hear the truth. And they're not going to get a man. These women make themselves single. Most of them are going to die alone. They don't want to hear change. They want a man to accept them. For what? For what? You get the best of him, yet he suffers sleeping with you every night, being your husband, being pressed against a body he absolutely despises and is repulsed by, has a hard time keeping his food down.
They want. So we have to really look at the deeper issue. So sis, what is the deeper issue? Let's talk about your childhood. I've had clients, Lee, that gain weight as a child and still carrying the weight in their 50s because they gained weight as a child because they were being molested by their fathers. So they felt like if I become overweight and, disgusting looking, this is what they would say, then he would leave me alone. Not realizing you're in your 40s and 50s now and you're still carrying the weight, not just the physical weight, but the mental and emotional weight from what you did back in the day. I understand it, but we got to let it go. And also having unrealistic expectations. A lot of women think that because they can bring to the table what a man can bring, that makes them quality. And it doesn't. It doesn't qualify you for that kind of man because you're not studying him. I always studied the man that I was with, because at the end of the day, if I'm saying I'm going to be a woman that makes the house a home and I'm still run my businesses, but my main job is being his wife, I need to study like I'm in a college course, this man.
Yes.
Because when I study him, I can give him what he needs, and in return, it keeps my life light. It keeps me still going to the spa. Because I go pick flowers, Lee, and I go to the strawberry farm and pick strawberries, but I can still run my businesses. But it keeps me light. It keeps me fun. It keeps me youthful. It keeps me living a very sensual and sexual life because I don't have that weight.
Right. And when it seems to me, when you say, you study him, what that sounds to me is you're putting forth effort. Right. Yes. And when a woman doesn't go to the gym, it's not a lot of effort. When a woman doesn't even want to make you a plate, it seems like some type of conservation of energy where they just don't want to put forth any effort. Were you seeing that in some of your clients?
Yes.
That they didn't want to put forth a lot of effort to get the man that they said that they wanted, that they said was the priority.
Right. That's what they do. And what's interesting is the list. It's almost like an entitlement, Lee.
Oh, woman, let me put that back.
It's like, okay, figure. She understands her position, right?
Yeah.
That's not the majority.
Right. And so one of the first things that you mentioned in your post was the unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Now, I think women can do a lot of things that can improve their value, right, to men. And you mentioned one when you first got on, we were talking about the weight issue. Why, for a man, you can't even, as a man, I can't even start a conversation about a woman's weight, right? But you would think that you as a woman could be able to broach that. But it seems to me that even if you tried to get Black women to lose weight, let's say a Black woman is 250 pounds, you try to get her to lose weight, it seems like you're going to get some pushback on Facebook and IG and things of that nature. Where is that coming from?
Well, here's the thing. Like, what I do is cause them to look in the mirror. So they come to me for this higher 1 to 10% of Black men is what they come to me for. Now, I hang out with those men. A lot of those men are single, right? And I get to hear, because what people didn't know, behind the scenes for the last 10 years, I've been the relationship dating coach to a lot of your favorite male celebrities. So I'm around them all the time. I just didn't push that because that was not my focus. It kind of happened by accident. And so now they're coming even harder. So I'm able to speak from that level of man, right? The reason why I always use the 6, 7, 8 figure man and I don't really touch on the average guy is because I want women to see what they're asking for. Meaning, these guys that y'all looking for, they don't want red hair.
Talk about
they
it.
They don't want blondes. And your chocolate is me. That's not what they want. They don't want long fingernails. They don't want a lot of different colors. Pink, neutral colors is fine. They don't want all of the extra eyelashes and all of that stuff. Now, right? So when I make them have to look in the mirror at what they're asking for versus what those men, I said, you got to understand, those men have a list too. I'm around them all the time. Like, I was in Miami a couple of weeks ago and they asked me to go to the strip club. I go to the strip club with some of the fellas because that's their environment. That's where they want to talk. So I'm sitting there, they're giving out dollars while they're telling me, but Miss April, she broke my heart, right? So I'm able to hear the hurt, right? What ends up happening is when I'm sitting there having these conversations with them, these men have a criteria as far as what they're looking for. But I always tell them, but until your palate change, you can't attract that kind of woman anyway.
Right.
So, fellas, it's a dual thing.
So, you think though? Let's get specific though, and let's talk about the weight because that seems to be a very big issue. That's what I was getting to.
Sorry about that. I was getting to. So I'm out, people seeing this, right? And these women are asking me, "Oh, can you hook me up with this or that one?" I have to be honest. You're not small enough.
Wow.
Oh, what do you mean? I'm very blunt with it because the men that they're asking me for to find and where do they hang out at, I have to tell them this is not what they want. I said, you got to understand, a man of that caliber, that means he's driven. That means he's a hunter. That means legacy is important to him. That also means he wants a woman that he can take around his colleagues and family. And it also means that you don't understand that a man gets major props for the type of woman that he has on his arm. Beyonce said, and upgrade you, take me just to compliment the deal, meaning her presence complements the deal. Because people are looking at the business meeting, if he got her, he must got something going on. I need to sit down and talk to this man. Even if it might not even necessarily be true, but it's the perception. Yes. So when I have to talk to them about that, I'm like, in your mind, you're looking at your accomplishments saying, I deserve this. But that man will take a waitress that's a smaller woman that keep herself together. Not saying everybody got to be a size 6 or 8 like me or size 2. You can even be a size 12, 14 and keep it together. Yes. It's all about how you are put together, right?
Mhm.
But he'll take her making $10,000 a year because she knows what it means to be a woman.
Exactly.
But-
So what's the pushback then to losing the weight? Is it laziness, or is it the fact they feel like they can just do it at size 25?
Delusion.
Is it interesting? You know,
It's
is it
delusion.
where is that delusion coming from? What's the basis of it? Is it, you know, a lot of women will say, oh, well, you know, my best friend weighs 250 pounds and she's got a good man. Is that the source of what's the source of the delusion?
The source of we're not dealing with our emotions. See, a lot of women are overweight, and even men, because we're not dealing with the source. The source is emotion, emotional eating, not healing yourself. Food has become your healer, right? When you're sad because it's the holiday time and you're alone again, right? What you do, you pick up the food and you eat. So we have to deal with the core issues. It's not, nobody wants to walk around just being overweight and knowing that it's causing them not to get the results that they want. So we have to really look at the deeper issue. So sis, what is the deeper issue? Let's talk about your childhood. I've had clients leave that gain weight as a child and still carrying the weight in their 50s because they gained weight as a child because they were being molested by their fathers. So they felt like if I become overweight and disgusting looking, this is what they would say, then he would leave me alone. Not realizing you in your 40s and 50s now, and you're still carrying the weight, not just the physical weight, but the mental and emotional weight from what you did back in the day. I understand it, but we got to let it go. And also having unrealistic expectations.
See, here's the thing, right? Men sometimes get counseling with other men, and they talk with other men, and they trying to get advice about dealing with women, and it may come up that they were molested. Okay. Does that guy tell him just to shake it off and a woman should love you for you, regardless, even though you still have that trauma and you never dealt with that trauma? Does a man say, no, we say, you gotta, you have to go to counseling, man. Especially if you see the trauma, you got to go to counseling, man. You got to take care of this. You can't be with a woman right now. You cannot be with a woman right now. I remember I was with a chick, right? And the minute she told me she was molested and the person that molested was still in her family, I'm like, listen, I got kids. I don't know about this, us. Because if we were to have kids, for example, I'd have to deal with the fact that that man who molested you is still in your family. And she got upset and she didn't want to talk to me anymore. But this is issues you have to deal with. This is stuff that is not a joke. This is not something, you got molested. Oh, we'll just walk along and hold hands, sing kumbaya, and la 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 la. We'll get married, and nothing will go wrong. No, this is a serious issue here. And a lot of women don't want to deal with this. And this is what will make or break your marriage or serious relationship. I've said it in Facebook groups. If the chick has been molested, has not dealt with the issues, leave her alone. Women got mad. Men got mad. Put on their captain's, simp uniform and try to defend them. But I was speaking logic. And this is what is needed for both genders. Okay? And people don't like hearing it, but this is the truth. This is what is needed. Hey, in the Black community, there's a lot of people walking around undiagnosed with mental trauma. And it's ruining their relationships and marriages, and the children have to suffer.
A lot of women think that because they can bring to the table what a man can bring, that makes them quality. And it doesn't. It doesn't.
Let me also tell you something. I don't care how many degrees you got. That doesn't help with the fact you're still mentally broken with those issues. Okay? You're still mentally broken with those issues. And it just means you have more access to do more damage to other people and yourself. A degree isn't going to help you with trauma.
Qualify you for that kind of man because you're not studying him. I always studied the man that I was with, because at the end of the day, if I'm saying I'm going to be a woman that makes the house a home and I'm still run my businesses, but my main job is being his wife, I need to study like I'm in a college course, this man.
Yes.
Because when I study him, I can give him what he needs, and in return, it keeps my life light. It keeps me still going to the spa. Because I go pick flowers, Lee, and I go to the strawberry farm and pick strawberries, but I can still run my businesses. But it keeps me light. It keeps me fun. It keeps me youthful. It keeps me living a very sensual and sexual life, because I don't have that weight.
Right. And when it seems to me, when you say, you study him, what that
Yeah.
sounds to me is you're putting forth effort, right?
Yes.
And when a woman doesn't go to the gym, there's not a lot of effort. When a woman doesn't even want to make you a plate, it seems like some type of conservation of energy where they just don't want to put forth any effort. Were you seeing that in some of your clients?
Yes.
That they didn't want to put forth a lot of effort to get the man that they said that they wanted, that they said was the priority.
Right. That's what they do. And what's interesting is the list. It's almost like an entitlement, Lee. Mm-hmm. Is what it is. And it's like, okay, sis, I understand. We have been raised as women that we are the prize and all this wonderful stuff. And I get it. And I believe it. However, there's a certain thing called reciprocation. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's something called taking care of your man too. A lot of women don't even know how to court a man while she's dating him.
Right.
They don't know how to do that. And as soon as I say court, ain't nobody chasing no man and blah blah. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with paying attention. Like, there was somebody I was seeing. We were on the phone and he was telling me, we were talking about something. He said, April, one day we need to play some Monopoly. We need to, some stock and boppers, the little fun game. We need to play that and whatnot. Well, out of the clear blue, I mailed him the sock and bopper game. It cost me $19.99 on Amazon. Women would say, I can't believe you bought him that. I just tapped into his little boy. I just let him know that I heard him. I just let him know that I cared enough to stop my day to put an order on Amazon for something as simple as sock and bopper game from his youth. It was that simple.
Yes. Let me ask you this, because a lot of men, it seems like if we mention anything about anything, it's either we're shaming women or we're not being sensitive. We're not understanding where women are coming from.
A lot of women don't like to give, I've realized. They don't like to give. It's a problem. Let the man give, but when giving back, it's a problem. And they get mad. Stay alone. That's it. Stay alone. Or be a thespian.
But if you are talking to a man and he's not getting a lot of cooperation, would you suggest that the man communicate to the woman and saying, hey, I want this or that? Or do you think it's kind of, there's not much that a man can do when women have this type of mentality that they're really not going to put forth a lot of effort in their relationships? I guess what I'm asking is, can a man say anything to get women to put forth more effort? Can he communicate something to these women so that they will put forth more effort on a consistent basis? Not a one-time thing on this Tuesday, but week after week, month after month. Is there something a man can say to get the woman to click, to say, hey?
That's funny. One of my friends asked me that about a girl he was dating a couple of years. He said, hey, what do I get to get her to change? How do I get her to change? What do you do to get a woman to change? I said, that's easy. He said, well, what do I say? I said, you don't. You get a different woman. That's most of it. You don't. You don't. Because a relationship has to do with two people giving the best of themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so you don't change them. You go get somebody else. And that means, fellas, that you got to start picking better women. That plays a part too. Get off of the beauty and the booty all the time, because you got to understand, you can get caught up in that. And what I saw with a lot of my male clients were, they like the aesthetics of these women, but they wanted her to have this other type of more home, traditional type of mindset. And that's
It's kind of like, women who they see this guy, he's 6 foot, abs, tattoos, he puts it down in the bedroom right, but he's a complete thug, he's a terrible partner, but you expect him to be a Russell Wilson. It's not going to happen. And as for men, yeah, I will say that. We get caught up with the beauty, but then, she has the body of Nicki Minaj, but we want her to have the mindset of April Mason. It's not going to happen.
That's not what they had. I may have to leave y'all.
No problem.
Are you, hello?
On the Peachtree Street right now. So
okay.
I'm there in like 1 minute.
All right, darling. I'm on my way down.
Alrighty, I'll see you in a moment.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, I had a nail on in the car today, and y'all, if you're gonna get a Tesla, you gotta have some money, because them Tesla tires.
Shout out to the Tesla tires. Listen, April, thank you so much for coming on and speaking.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's basically it. And these women who are coming after April Mason, how do I say it? My people perish for lack of knowledge because they have rejected the knowledge that was given to them. That's basically it. You know how some black hoteps and black hoteps and want to say that verse, but they don't want to say the other side of the verse. And that's basically it. These women, they want what they're not willing to work for. It's not something that's easily given. You have to work at it. And sad to say, some of them have actually been given it. But, if it left their hands, easy come, easy go. A fool and his money is soon parted. A fool in a good relationship is soon parted. That's how it is. All right. Tell me what you think. Is April Mason right? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Later.